The D13 sector has finally made its return to the Black Ops franchise, and for the first time ever, we're able to use it in zombies. And oh my god, it's the best gun in the game. Today, we're of course going to test it out against all of the enemy types currently in Black Ops 6 Zombies, as well as seeing how it fares against Patient 13 and the Guardian boss fights. If you do enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for everything Call of Duty Zombies. With that out of the way, let's get into it. So you can unlock the D13 sector in Black Ops 6 for absolutely free by completing the limited time Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles event that just went live a couple of hours ago. You'll need to amass about 356,000 XP to unlock it, which sounds like a lot, and to be fair, it is. However, if you run a couple games of high rounds on Liberty Falls or the Tomb, you should have this unlocked in no time. My initial impressions of the base version of the weapon is that it's one of the worst in the game until you have the right attachments and it's upgraded. There's 3 different ammo types that you can have: the base saw blades, which is what you get when you have nothing equipped, the ricochet blades, and the explosive blades. The base saw blades are alright, but they're nothing to write home about. The ricochet ammo type is literally god-awful. I think it might be solid in multiplayer in Warzone, but in zombies, it's seriously useless. Don't even equip it. I would just seriously just stay away from it. It's that bad. But once you have the explosive discs unlocked and equipped, though, it becomes the best weapon in the game. I know I've said that a lot this year, but trust me on this, you're going to be blown away when you see how it performs when it's fully kitted out. Of course, because they're explosive discs, I would highly recommend picking up PhD Flopper as early as you possibly can, though, as you can get killed really easily by the explosion radius. The attachments you'll absolutely have to have in order to make this thing the best weapon in the game are the long barrel, the crossbar, the explosive blades, again, please equip the explosive blades, and the overclocked stock. I promise you the base version of this weapon with no attachments is going to make you want to close app and never use this thing again, but trust me, the explosive blades are going to make your day. Now that we have the best class for the weapon, let's get into how it performed against zombies, specials, elites, and bosses. So in the review portion of the video, I'm really only going to be covering how it performs with the explosive blades equipped. I know I've mentioned that like 6 times in this video and you're probably getting really annoyed, but seriously guys, do not use anything but the explosive blades. The gun is dog shit if you don't have it equipped. So for this portion of the video, like I said, anything but the explosive blades is going to be ass. But if you do have the right loadout for it, holy shit guys, this thing is absolutely insane. When you're just running around with it, it feels kind of like the ASG shotgun but with explosive bullets. Against zombies, it really just absolutely fries them. I'd say by like round 3 or 4 though, it's gonna start 2-shotting them until you start to get it pack-a-punched and kitted out. Don't worry, that's just how, you know, most of the guns in this game perform, especially like the ASG. Like if you compare it to the ASG is good for like rounds 1 or 2, but then after that you really gotta start upgrading the rarity and the pack-a-punch for it to become an absolute beast, and it's the same exact case with this. So against zombies and armored zombies, you want to start upgrading this as soon as possible. Like I said earlier, pick up PhD because you're gonna need it. Going over the special zombies, we'll start with the Mangler. Dude, this thing absolutely fries them like everything else in the game, man. If you have it fully kitted out, it'll like 1 or 2 tap them. There's really no challenge whatsoever at all. You can shoot it at their feet. I'd prefer to shoot it towards their head or their cannon, just so you don't have like 1 or 2, you know, so you don't have to waste another extra bullet or 2. But seriously, just hit the Manglers like up above the chest and it should be 1 or 2 tapping them. As for the Doppelgasts and the Mimic, if you hit the Mimic straight in the face, it's gonna 1-tap them up to about like 30, I think, and then it'll start to fall off a tad bit, but it won't be too bad. Once again, just aim for the head with the Mimics. The same thing with the Doppelgast. I've noticed that it does struggle a little bit against the Ghasts if you're hitting them below the waist or kind of in the chest. You really want to try to get the critical kills in order to make this gun as effective as it can possibly be. But if you're hitting them right in the face, you've got this thing like pack 1 or pack 2 with like blue, maybe even purple rarity, it'll 1-2 tap them no problem, just like the Manglers and the Doppelgasts. Moving on to the elites, we're going to start with the Abomination from Liberty Falls. This absolutely fries them, guys. You can see it in the gameplay here. If you hit them directly in the face, it'll literally take them down to like 1 HP. If you hit 2 of the faces, which isn't hard to do at all because they spawn, open up their faces, you shoot them 1 time, half their health is gone, shoot them again, next thing you know, they're down to 1 health, and then you can just hit them like anywhere in the body and it'll clear them off. It doesn't matter what round you're on, dude. This thing absolutely cooks them up. Now, against the Amalgams, I'd say it's kind of like the Doppelgasts, where you really have to hit them in their critical spots, otherwise they can be a little bit bullet spongy. They're really not that hard to take down if you're hitting them directly in the head, but if you're not hitting direct shots or you're kind of just shooting at their feet and trying to take them down with the explosion radius, that's where it might kind of struggle against the Doppelgast. But again, as long as you're hitting the critical shots here, you should have absolutely no problem with any of the zombies, specials, or elites currently in the game. Moving on to the bosses, we're going to start on Terminus. Against Nathan, it's kind of the same thing for the normal Amalgams. Because Nathan is a little bit more beefed up and juiced, it's going to take a little bit more to kill him. I would just highly recommend, again, aiming for his critical spots, keeping your distance. You don't want to get sucked in here against him because he will grab you, throw you around like a normal Amalgam, and he is very, very spongy. I think the ASG might be a little bit better against Nathan than the Sector is, but if I'm being honest, again, like you're going to be fine if you just keep your distance, shoot him directly in the heads, and try to get your critical kills. On to the Patient 13 boss fight. This sector makes him an absolute joke. I'm not even exaggerating. I completed this Patient 13 boss fight faster than I ever have before with this. I know I've hyped up a lot of weapons this year. I know every time one comes out, there's something good about every single one of them, most of the time, except for that one shotgun, that Maelstrom that came out in like DLC 1 or whatever, Season 1. But I'm so serious, guys. You can get through the Patient 13 boss fight with absolutely zero struggle, and you can get it done in about 2 to 3 minutes. It's that good. Each phase just absolutely gets cooked by him. Obviously, you have to hit the critical spots. You know, if you're hitting him in the middle of nowhere, it's not really going to do very much damage, but if you're hitting his boils, you're hitting his mouth, you're hitting his tentacles, you're hitting his head at the very end of the boss fight in stage 3, it's going to absolutely melt him. I don't think it destroys the boils, even if you hit it 2 or 3 times, but it does more than enough damage to really chip away. As you guys can see the health bar up at the top of the screen as I'm putting up, as this footage is going on, it absolutely cooks him. I mean, you get to the tentacle stage, it's 2 shots to the tentacles, better than the ASG ever has been, ever. It just absolutely fries Patient 13. I really wasn't expecting it to do that well. I know, like, you know, playing against the zombies and against the normal bosses and elites and specials and whatever, like, it's like, all right, this gun's pretty good, but like, how good is it really going to be in the boss fights? But no, the Patient 13, I was so shocked that it was able to kill him this quickly. Didn't think it was going to be that good. Took it in against him. I swear to God, I got this boss fight done in like 120 seconds, maybe 180 seconds. Now, if you're taking out the middle stages where you have to run around and kill the zombies, which, by the way, isn't a problem with this because it's basically like using the Mustang and Sally's, I'd say it probably took like less than 2 minutes to get through all 3 of the stages. Now, for our last part of the review, we're going to be talking about the Guardian boss fight over on Citadel Day more. I will admit it really struggles to take down his armor, but once you do get the armor broken, you can absolutely fly through this boss fight if you're being careful and hitting him directly in his critical spots. For the armor, I would highly suggest maybe using one of the swords to crack him. Here in this part of the gameplay I'll show you, I used Ether Shroud, took off his armor by hitting him with the sword down below at the feet, and then it's like a 2-tap on each of his critical spots, which is just so quick to get through. But you really have to micromanage more of what you're doing in this boss fight because it's terrible against the armor. But if you use the sword, crack his armor, and then you start shooting him directly in the critical spots, you'll have no problem taking down the Guardian. I'd say the only 2 drawbacks I have with this weapon, maybe even 3, I'd say the ammo can be kind of a problem on the lower rounds if you don't have Vulture, but if you have Vulture, you should have absolutely no problem keeping your ammo up. I mean, you're going to pick up like probably 5 discs or 5 bullets every time you run over one of the little ammo stashes that the zombies drop. So again, ammo can potentially be a problem if you're not running Vulture, but if you are running Vulture, literally no problem at all. Don't even worry about it. I'd probably be the first perk I pick up if you're playing Citadel. The other 2 drawbacks I do have is, one, after you kind of like cock the weapon back in between shots, you really can't sprint. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is just a kind of a way to balance this weapon out, but I do notice, especially in the Citadel boss fight and just even playing around the map, sometimes I'll shoot and then I'll kind of get stuck to where like you have that half a second time where you can't sprint. So just kind of leave a little bit of space in between you and the zombies when you're using this thing, because it does feel a little bit weird. I thought it was a glitch initially, but the more I think about it, I really just think this is how they're balancing out this weapon, is that like when you do the cockback animation, your character can't sprint and you're just at a walking snail's pace. So it only is like a half of a second, but again, be very careful when it comes to that. The last drawback I have with this sector, and this is just going back to what we touched on in the beginning of the video, is it's really terrible until you have the explosive rounds unlocked. Now, they unlock at level 6, so it's very early on in the process. I think there's only 20 weapon levels, and if you run double XP, you can have those 6 levels knocked out in probably like 5-10 minutes if you use the Rampage Inducer. But before you even have those, it's terrible. I really wouldn't recommend playing with the Ricochet bullets or the regular bullets. The regular bullets are fine. You can kind of play around with them, but they're not nearly as good as the explosive bullets. The Ricochet is completely useless, though. Please do not even equip it. Don't even try it out. Don't even think it's going to be good or that you can find some way to make it good. I'm like 100% certain that there's not one single way to make the Ricochet bullets good. They just don't do enough damage to kill the zombies, even in the lower rounds when it's pack-a-punched and kitted out. I put a hidden power on it and pack-a-punched it, and on round like 7 or 8, it wasn't one-shotting zombies. So just stay away from the Ricochet bullets. Honestly, like I said, just get it to level 6 and equip the explosive bullets on it and then just run it from there, because it really is like a hybrid between the Mustang and Sally's and the ASG shotgun. I was super surprised with this. I went into the day thinking it was going to be really good, and then my initial reaction was like, I just wasted money buying the pass in order to get this weapon right away. Like, this is terrible. I didn't even want to use it. I wasn't going to use it. I almost literally stopped and was like, I'm not going to make a video on this. It's that bad. But I played through, got the explosive rounds, and I was extremely surprised and shocked that it was really this good. So like I said, this gun is actually a hybrid between the GS45s and the ASG. I promise you, it's the best gun in the game currently. Treyarch, please to God, don't nerf this. It's really, really fun. I almost already have it Nebula too. It's that good. I've only been using it for like 3.5 hours, and it's easily probably my favorite gun to run around with in the game right now. Obviously, got to have PhD early on, so if you're playing a map like Citadel, you probably have to do that side Easter egg to get PhD, but any of the other 3 maps, you can get PhD really early on in the game. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this weapon, if you've got it already, if you're going for it. Once you have it unlocked, let me know how you think this is, and try testing it out against the Sentinel Artifact boss fight. I don't think it'll actually do damage to it because it's an explosive weapons. If you use the normal blades, maybe it might actually be pretty good, but I have a feeling it's not going to be good against that boss fight at all. But if you're using it against any of the other boss fights in the game, really super solid. If you're playing Citadel, just remember to use the sword to crack the armor and then hit the weak spots with. But overall, guys, absolute beast of a weapon. I would highly recommend going back and trying to get this unlocked and playing it. Even if you haven't played Black Ops 6 in a couple of weeks, go back for the event, get this weapon done, because you're going to want this going into the mansion because it really is that good. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, stay hydrated. Peace.